Joel.
Good morning, Trent.
Good morning.
How was your sleep?
It was amazing. I had the most amazing dream.
Wow. What was it?
There was hundreds of people all around the globe filming movies in 3 hours.
That's amazing.
It was. It's a shame something like that'll never happen, though.
What do you mean?
I mean, movies require at least 800 cast and crew members and budgets of billions of dollars.
What? What are you talking about?
Surely a person can't make a movie by themselves or with a couple friends or family members or even strangers. That's impossible.
But Trent, don't you see?
What?
Your dream was not a dream. It was a reality.
What do you mean?
Last year during the Oscars, hundreds of people came together and made movies.
Really?
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Those can't be movies. They weren't made for enough money.
No, you're wrong.
No, I'm right.
You're wrong.
No.
Are you just saying that because other people say that?
Yeah?
That's not a very interesting thought. It's not a very creative way to live.
Shut up.
Hello and welcome to the Academy of Movies Shot During the Oscars Awards. What this is every year I gather people around, all from around the world, and I say, hey, shoot a movie during the Oscars. That's a feature-length film shot in 3 hours. And to my surprise, both years so far, I've gotten hundreds of movies submitted, and every single one I've watched is so special in its own way. And today I just want to recognize 10 standout movies. This is by no means the best of the batch. They're not better than others. I never wanted this to be a competition. These are just 10 great movies that people made in 3 hours. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Something a lot of people seem to do with this challenge is they take it upon themselves to do a personal sort of monologue where they talk to and at the camera and at the audience for roughly 40 minutes to an hour about themselves, their life. And it's always really special because you get a glimpse at somebody you didn't know before you started the movie. And this year, one of my favorites was I Used to Drum by Daniel the Human. Daniel is a guy who's sort of going through a lot of things in his head about creativity and why he's so anxious to create nowadays when he used to not be anxious to be in marching band and to perform in front of people. And he just wrestles with those thoughts and talks about the times he's felt he's performed in life and how in some ways, in one way or another, you're always performing. And it's fitting that his name is Daniel the Human because it's a very human and warm film. One thing that's fun to see during this challenge is documentaries. And one of the simplest ways to do a documentary is to just head out on the street and interview people. And that's what Cameron Kendall did, I don't know if I mispronounced that, in his film 6 Strangers Interviews on the Street.
Fuck it, let's go get it.
Let's take back.
Let's take back the shit. If there's 1% of the population that has everything, it's pretty simple math to think that 99 to 1 might have a chance.
Right.
I don't know if he hit the jackpot or if the more beautiful truth is that everyone you meet is interesting, because every single guest he found to interview was super interesting to watch. Great job, Cameron. You say you're more introverted in the documentary, but you definitely were a great interviewer and you did a great job, so thanks for making it.
Do you fear death?
No, not at all.
I like how quick you were with that.
No, not at all.
One thing that blows my mind every year is people manage to make animations during this time frame. That's feature-length animations, and they all find different ways to do it. Usually they'll draw the assets ahead of time, and then in real time film themselves puppeteering them digitally. And both years, Drawbomb, who is a group of animators, have made a feature-length animated film during the Oscars. And this year, their film, Dr. Catastrophe's Fantastic Menagerie, was really special.
Yeah, I do know what you mean, because that leads me to the next project that you created, which you just gave away. It was called The Wicked Baboon with tits. Yep, that's what you called it officially.
Yep.
As well. How were the sales on that product?
Well, not great.
The art is really great. The very simple puppeteered animation was very compelling to look at still. And the improv that guides you through it was hilarious. They're all clearly people who just gel together and have the same sense of humor. And it's genuinely really funny and really well made. And like I said, once again, just an amazing feat to make an animated feature this quick, especially one that's this watchable.
Gone with the Wind from 1939 still holds the record for highest grossing film of all time when adjusted for inflation.
I think one of the most special things you could do as a filmmaker is give people a glimpse into who you are. And one film that really did that this year was Sarah and the Sky Girl by Scribble Lore.
Hello. Hi. Welcome to the world. What's the world all about?
And what this is it's a little bit of everything. It's sort of a house tour where they're showing you around their apartment, but they're also simultaneously showing a clay doll around their apartment. So there's a magical thing where they're talking to this mystical doll. And then there's also other things. They're digging through old memories in a box. They're playing music for you. It's just a really beautiful collection of whatever this person felt compelled to document. And it's really beautiful. And the original song they play is fantastic. I was shocked to find out after that it was an original song. I was like, wow, what a beautiful song.
Laura Baltic, Laura Days, all I really have to say. I'm as happy as a platypus at play.
One of my favorite things that has emerged through this contest might as well be a genre in and of itself. And that's the improvised bullshit comedy, where you and your friends are just trying your damnedest to tell a story in this time frame, and the haphazard chaos of it becomes the comedy of it. And every time it's so fun to watch because the fun is so apparent on screen. And Trig Johnson, I don't know if that's one of them or just a made-up name, made Andy Warhol's anti-soup painting.
Oh my God. Thomas the bear behind, it's a math bear!
But it's really funny, just a couple people in their basement, and it shows you how little locations and production you need to still tell a story. You know, you just change the lighting, you lie and say, oh, we're in a car, but we're actually just sitting in chairs. And it's enough to convince the audience, and then they laugh also at how unconvinced they might be. So it was a really fun time with some genuinely big laughs. So thank you guys for making that. It was a great time.
Cream corn, huh? What do you know about cream corn?
All I know is that it's Andy's favorite liquid food as of now.
Oh! You don't say!
The Godfather Part 1 and The Godfather Part 2 are the only sequels to win the Oscar for Best Picture.
In the other direction of comedies is things that feel a little more structured or slow-paced and maybe planned out. And there's a really good comedy this year called The Graveyard Shift by Little T Bro Films or Elijah Edwards.
Sure.
Drive home safely, okay?
Will do.
Yeah, I'll see you. I'll see you tomorrow, right?
Yeah, super early. Are you still gonna be here when I get back?
Well, yeah, I'll be here for probably the rest of the night.
This is about a guy who's just working after hours at his office, and it's filmed in a real office, which I imagine Elijah works at or knows somebody who works at. And it's just a guy killing time, and the whole thing has just a great Napoleon Dynamite sort of energy to it. It has really good musical montages, and scenes where he calls people on the phone are hilarious because they're tripping over, because he dubbed it afterwards and he's tripping over his own words and talking over himself.
Well, you know, yeah, I've been working here at the studio, and
you've been clocking in like every day since high school, right?
Yes, tons of
good
hours.
Pay, hopefully,
good pay,
right?
Good pay for sure.
Still with that one girl?
Yeah, well, you know, high school sweetheart.
Vanessa, right?
Yes, Vanessa.
How are we all?
Yes, we are doing great.
You know, great.
One thing people do during this challenge that I think works really well is they commit to an extreme aesthetic. And one movie that did that is Love Bits by Nathan Lathroom. And Love Bits is shot all on VHS and it's played back on a TV. And it's a story about a guy who stops taking his meds and he starts talking to and falls in love with his Atari game system. And it has such a distinct style and look that really carries and elevates the whole movie. And it has a great original score. It's got great music by his friend Connor Nyberg, who I found through the movie, and he has some fantastic songs. And it was just all around, it felt like a very cohesive film that could have been made regardless of the severe time constraints. And I was just very impressed. Great job, Nathan.
I was not scared. Hesitant to be disrespectful, but I was not scared.
Come on. How many girls do you talk to on a regular basis?
I talk to enough girls, actually, believe it or not.
And how many people do you talk to on a regular basis?
On top of documentaries, there's also a lot of mockumentaries made during this contest, which feels very logical because it's like you're gonna be breaking the fourth wall, or the fourth wall is gonna be so flimsy in these movies anyway. Sometimes it just makes sense to do a mockumentary. And one that really took me by surprise was Franklin and Evan.
Kind of like where you grew up, how you grew up, like everything like that.
Well, it all started in the Bronx.
This is a mockumentary about a guy and his dog puppet are being interviewed, and it turns into this investigative documentary about finding the old Curious George doll that the dog puppet used to be friends with. And it's just so well presented and so well shot, and it has some genuine emotional momentum to it, but it's still just ridiculous and silly the whole time.
It feels like your hand is up my ass all the time. I need you to let me go. I need you to just let me fly.
The first motion picture ever made was in 1888 by Louis Le Prince.
One thing that I didn't recognize last year that I feel like I'd be remiss not to is the experimental films people make. Because inevitably, within these extreme limitations, it makes sense that some people would take a super experimental edge on it. And some of my favorites last year, just the weirdest experiences that stuck with me, were those ones that sort of defied form and convention to such an extreme. And this year, one that really was compelling to me was Antichrist by Gren B. Antichrist is a very extreme experimental movie. It tells the story of a trans woman who's going through a manic episode and calling a bunch of 24/7 church hotlines, telling them that they're afraid they're going to join a cult, and the phone calls are real, and then what you see on screen is them manically showering and trying to cleanse themselves of whatever that they might be going through. And it was, the photo collage element of it was oftentimes very beautiful. It felt like something you might see in a museum, looping forever and ever, but it does come around to an interesting ending. It was one of the more shocking I saw. It was a very compelling film, and I just like to see people being bold and taking risks. So great job, Gren B.
God, and I pray, Lord Jesus, that He will not reject, Lord God, your teachings, that He will follow and keep hold of it, Lord God, and not let go of your teaching. Lord, I pray that you continue to help them fear you, because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge.
I think when you first hear about this challenge, you think how it might be really hard to make a movie look nice in this time. But I simply don't think that's true, because there's many movies throughout this challenge that have proven that wrong. And one of those movies is Jesse Reyes's I Have Trouble Being Alone for Too Long.
We don't have any more chickens. Yeah, they're gone, but we still have the coop.
It's a really nice personal vlog as Jesse walks through their town and takes us through the park and these scenic sights, and it's shot in beautiful black and white 4x3, and every composition is just amazing to look at, and it's just a very tender, warm film, and it was very pretty too. So nice job, Jesse. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you check out some of the winners, or maybe dive into the playlist and watch a random one. That can never disappoint, because there's always some weird, personal, crazy thing somebody made in 3 hours. It blows my mind how many people participate in this challenge, because it is such an insane challenge. You know, before this, the craziest challenge was like a 48-hour film festival where you make a short film in a weekend. But this just takes it to another level, shooting a feature in 3 hours and then having a week to edit it. And as we move forward, I definitely want to step away from the awards component of this challenge. I think ultimately, I don't have enough time to watch all these movies. There are hundreds of these movies, and most of them are an hour long, that I just don't have that time in a year to devote. And it doesn't feel right to host an actual awards if I don't watch enough of them to actually properly give out awards. To me, all these movies deserve awards, and maybe moving forward, everyone could just put a laurel from this challenge on their movie, regardless of if they won anything. I think we're all winners just for doing this challenge and getting it done. But ultimately, I think these films are better as a collective communal body of work than being pitted against each other, like this one won or this one's better than that one. That was never my goal with this. I just want us to make movies. And moving forward, this weekend, I am going to shoot another movie during the Oscars, and I hope everyone does too. Still send it to the same email address. Still edit it in a week. I think that week deadline makes you actually get it done. Otherwise, you would sit on the footage for months and months, as people often fall victim to if they give themselves too much time. So shoot a movie in the 3 hours of the Oscars. Have a week to edit it. Get it in by the midnight next Sunday. And yeah, just have fun with it. Don't overthink it. Just make something. Love you guys, and I love movies. Have a great night. Good night, Trent.
Good night, Joel.
Sleep good, man, and remember that people can make movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Even by yourself?
Even by yourself.
Or with a small group of friends?
A small group, a couple friends, mom or dad.
Just like a camera?
Yeah, whatever camera.
It could be like a phone too.
Or you could just put it in Microsoft Paint or make up it on the computer.
You could film a bunch of paper moving around.
DaVinci Resolve is free.
DaVinci Resolve is free.
That's a free editing software. You've used it.
Audacity for audio.
Is on audio.
It's also free.
Some other tips and tricks. Phone memos are good for ADR.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
I love movies.